Constitution was not made for you. You was deemed as less than 1/5 of a human. All men is created equal. If you wasn't a man and was less than a dog, how was it meant for you? We the only ones on the planet that everybody hates. Why? I own this and everything that come with it. They'll put the truth in plain sight. I teach my grandkids. You start work at 18. You stay on the same job for 50 years. Say you're making $40 an hour, okay? Mm-hmm. They take in a third of that in taxes, okay? Wow. You pay taxes on everything, knowing taxes wasn't even made for you. But I never forget where I came from. I had somebody walk up on me and just looked at where I was dressed. And I went to the store just like this here, and they looked down upon me. And then I pulled out the car with no limit. They were like, huh? Next thing you know, the cops was in the store. I'm telling you, honest God, true.
For real?
Next thing you know, the cops came in the store. They wouldn't even get my card back.
This in Texas?
I'll tell you exactly where I was at. If you go on Northwest Highway and drive towards where the Cheesecake Factory at,
right,
that mall over there, I went in there to get my wife a purse. Okay? The woman told me that, you know what I mean, maybe I had better luck at the Louis Vuitton store was right around the corner. Like I couldn't afford nothing in there. So me with my arrogance, you know, my own understanding, me with my arrogance, I go in my pocket, put the card down. I can put the card in my car right there. Put the card down. You wanted $5,000 for the purse. There you go. Next you know, the police come in. You reported a stolen credit card. Here's my ID to match it and everything. Now what was it stolen? Then the police going to ask her, well, do you want them trespass? When can the police solicitate a trespass against anybody? When there's 3 steps to it. Ask me to leave. Yep. I come back. Yep. You trespass me. I leave. I come back. Now I'm subject to arrest. Yep. I've been military police. Yep. I got family in the police. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I done been to prison. I done did the law stuff. All that. Be humble. It's a time to speak. Because right now, if the police came up and said something to us, asked me for my ID, I know I ain't got to give it to them. I ain't done nothing. But I'm going to give it to you. I'll see you on the back end. The fight with you now is to make you say, well, I need to detain you. Yep. You're going to put me in cuffs. You're going to make my arm twist a little bit so I feel uncomfortable. Natural reaction is to do what?
To resist.
You know what I mean? To move, to make you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. Stop resisting. And you notice they say it loud enough for people to hear.
All right, hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders and the bishops, a great millstone of whom I learn from daily. All right? Healthy shalom to the 144,000 mighty men that would be elect on this earth as it is in heaven. Excuse me. As the scripture said, right? Hey, it's the brother Gabar Adama coming back at you. Look, this is something that, it just picked up and I saw on TikTok. Now, don't get mixed up in this stupid ass, TikTok change or whatever, man. Screw TikTok. Screw all these platforms, man. Hey, the scripture said that that he's gonna cause the famine of the word anyway. So hey, man, play their game. And their game is, they trying to hush up this and that. Why? Because hey, this word has reached the gates of the noble. But that's not what this is all about. So you saw with that older Jake had to say there, and hey, and I got to be honest, he was on point. All right? Hey, the scripture said, our people, they have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. Now, you can tell that, that gentleman, that Jake gentleman, he was an older cat. He was wise, wise in his own conceit. Matter of fact, he said it his own self, his own mind, he's wise, but I'm not sure, how much he knows according to the scriptures. But I'm going to filter what he said through the scriptures because he was on point, straight up. All right. And everything he was saying was basically prophecy. And there's a scripture to back it up. Now, we'll start out here, 3/5 of a person. I believe he said 1/5 of a person, something like that. So he, I think he had quoted that wrong. So let's quote it right. All right. 3/5 comparison counted enslaved individuals as 3/5 of a person for representation and taxation purposes, right? So we're going to go over it like this. And I'm going to filter it with the scriptures. Let's go.
The Constitution was not made for you. You was deemed as less than 1/5 of a human. All men is created equal. If you wasn't a man and was less than a dog, how was it meant for you?
Hey, got to get a scripture on that. All right, so this might be a little long. A little longer than I thought. Let's see. Here we go. I think it's 2nd Ezra. 6. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, pulled up. Okay, yeah, 2nd Ezra 6:54. After these, Adam also, whom thou madest, Lord of all creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sake. So listen, what did he say?
We the only ones on the planet that everybody hates. Why?
Hear what he said? We're the only ones on the planet that everybody hates. Why? And the reason is because we are the younger brother of Esau, Edom, the devil. All right, that's why he hates us, because his birthright is gone. You know, his father Isaac, who was Yahushua, if you can receive it, gave the birthright to Jacob, right? Which became the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel, which his name was changed to what? His name was changed to Israel after wrestling the angel. Okay, let's keep going. Wait, he said something else too. He said something else too. Yep, talking about they hate us without cause. He kept his anger forever. All right, Psalm 69 and verse 4 reads, they that hate me without cause are more than the hairs on my head. He said everybody hates us. Now, he's probably talking about just the so-called black man, but what he may not realize, I don't know, I can't put that on and won't speculate. All right, but so-called Native Americans and so-called Mexicans are also our brothers and sisters too. All right, they would destroy me, being my enemies wrongfully. See that? All right, are mighty, then I restored that which I took away. Right. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
I own this.
Hear that?
And everything that come with it.
Here he say, I own this and everything that come with it. Now, you saw it before. What did scripture say? He madeth the world for our sakes. All right. The entire earth belongs to the Israelites, and it always did. Okay. Verse 56 reads, as for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said they are nothing, but they are like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. Woo.
And put the truth in plain sight. I teach my grandkids. You start work at 18. You stay on the same job for 50 years. Say you're making $40 an hour. Okay? Mm-hmm. They take in a third of that in taxes. Okay? Wow. You pay taxes on everything.
Right? You work, you pay taxes on everything. Here's another precept. Again, what he was saying is 100% true. This is Baruch 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. See that? Where thou hast scattered us, that thou is Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right, has scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our father, which departed from the Lord, our power. So, hey, again, everything he's saying is a prophecy. All right, let's keep going. Let's go.
Knowing taxes wasn't even made for you, but I never forget where I came from. I had somebody walk up on me and just looked at where I was dressed. And I went to the store just like this here.
All right, so you saw what the gentleman was wearing. Hey, it can't be deceiving. And if you look closely, what does this shirt say? It says, I stand with God, right? I stand with God. Let's go here. Right? They have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. You saw what you know. Salakia. That's not what I wanted. I should know the scripture right off the top of my head, but I don't at the moment. I'm just being honest. I bear them record. Yes, there it is. I bear them record. That's it right there. Romans, the 10th chapter and verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of the Most High power, but not according to knowledge. You see that? You heard what he said, and you see what's on his shirt, right?
They looked down upon me. And then I pulled out the car with no limit. They were like, huh? Next thing you know, the cops was in the store. I'm telling you, I got too.
For real?
Next thing you know, the cops came in the store. They wouldn't even give my card back.
This in Texas?
I'll tell you exactly why.
Ooh, verse 3. All right. For they being ignorant of the Most High Yahweh's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of the Most High. You see that? All right. For Hamashiach Yahushua is the end of the law for the righteousness to every one that believeth. Beautiful.
If you go on Northwest Highway and drive towards where the Cheesecake Factory is,
Right.
that mall over there, I went in there to get my wife a purse. Okay. The woman told me that, you know what I mean, maybe I had better luck at the Louis Vuitton store was right around the corner, like I couldn't afford nothing in there. So me with my arrogance, you know, my own understanding, me with my arrogance, I go in my pocket, put the card down.
Yeah. What the scripture say, though, it said, lean not into thine own understanding. That's why I read you that scripture, that have a zeal, but not according to knowledge. Anyhow, he was still spot on, though, especially when he's getting ready to go into how to walk. You know, let's go, Ephesians, the 5th chapter. I believe it's verse 15. Okay. Yeah. Walk circumspectly. Yes, sir. There it is right there. That's what I wanted. All right. Call hello, Yahweh, 5 verse 15, Ephesians 5 verse 15 reads, see then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. And what's the beginning of wisdom, right? You see what his shirt said? I stand with God, right? Boom. That's my thumbnail.
Put the card in my car right there. Put the card down. You want the $5,000 for the purse? There you go. If you know the police come in, you reported a stolen credit card. Here's my ID to match it and everything. Now what was it stolen? Then the police going to ask her, well, do you want them trespass? When can the police solicitate a trespass?
Okay, now he's right about that. You know, according to the laws of this land, he's right about that. The police cannot solicit a trespass. They do all the time, Jake, you know. Anyway, but they're not supposed to be able to solicit a trespass, meaning if they were to go into a store and ask the store clerk or, you know, the owner of the store or patrons or anybody, do you want this guy off your property? Then that's soliciting a trespass, which is illegal. All right. But they do it all the time any damn way. But that's why I read the scripture in Ephesians to walk circumspectly, pay attention. Matter of fact, the scriptures go into this and tells you to agree. Let's see. All right. You got to humble down and agree with your adversary, man. Be smart and walk circumspectly and understand what's going on. We'll read that in a second.
It's anybody. When there's 3 steps to it, ask me to leave.
Yeah.
I come back.
Yeah.
You trespass me.
Yep.
I leave. I come back. Now I'm subject to arrest.
That's right.
I've been military police. I got family in the police. You know what I'm saying? I done been to prison. I done did the law stuff. All that. Be humble.
Yeah, humble yourself in the sight of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's Matthew 5 and verse 25. Listen to what he get ready to say. All right, this is red letters too. Yahweh Shah speaking. Agree with thy adversary quickly while thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Right, and that's what. This this older Jake, he was on point. What he was talking about, right? You know, and he's going into, look, I got the money. I can pay him $5,000 for, you know, a purse for my wife or whatever. But hey, it's just the way Jake is looked down upon. And you know, and you gotta watch. You gotta pay attention, man. Look, a lot of people, you know, that dress like this, or you know, I've seen a lot of rich, you know, people with a lot of money, that go around dressed just like this, and they do that shit on purpose. A lot of times they'll drive an older car, like a 80 Corolla. You know, I'm just saying, you know, something old, an old Blazer or the S10 or something like that. And they'll do that shit on purpose. You see what I'm saying?
Time to speak. Because right now, if the police came up and said something to us, asked me for my ID, I know I ain't got to give it to them. I've done nothing. But I'm going to give it to you.
Hear what he said? That's the scripture I just read right here in Matthew the 5th chapter. He said, I know I don't have to give it to him, and we don't have to. But you got to be smart about things. Because as the scripture just said, as we read, we are yet to stay in our captivity, and we're subject to payments, man. So if you don't agree with your adversary, just be smart, Jake. You know, you ain't got to be all kinds of rebellious and stupid. Matter of fact, the scripture said the spirit of rebellion is witchcraft, man. All right? Be smart about what's going on. If he asks you for your ID, just give it to him. Okay? And leave that pride on the side and leave that you think you know the law and shit. Man, it's not for you. Okay?
I see you on the back end. The fight with you now is to make you say, well, I need to detain you.
Yeah.
You gonna put me in cuffs. You gonna make my arm twist a little bit if I'm feeling uncomfortable. Natural reaction is to do what?
To resist.
You know what I mean? To move to make you feel comfortable. Stop resisting. And you notice they say it loud enough for people to hear.
All
The
right.
Constitution.
Hey, that was it right there. And I guess that is it. Hopefully that was edifying. Just real quick, straight and to the point. Hey, he was on point. I thought he was.